Since we have started this hardcore series, well, we already have done quite a lot of adventuring, from defeating the Ender Dragon, raiding an ocean monument, farming for those shulker shells in the end cities, and fighting against those brute piglins in the Bastion remnants. Well, I should say we already have done enough of these life-risking missions, and luckily we're still alive, right? But anyhow, so welcome back to the hardcore world, and of course, well, it's me, mikeyperion. But anyhow, so right now, well, we're actually changing our roof because it used to be these war fungus wood planks, and as well as these dark oak wood planks. And basically the reason behind why we're actually changing it, because, well, I've just observed that those traditional houses, especially those prominent houses in the Japanese feudal era, they're actually using some of those ceramic tiles, which is, I think, well, this is much closer to a ceramic tile rather than this these wood planks. So basically, well, that's the reason behind we're actually changing this. And I think, well, although it does look I think bland, should I say, but I guess just to make it more realistic, I think this is a better option, right? So before we actually begin our episode, I want to talk about a few things. First, well, probably you guys already have observed that we have used replay mod in our intro, so hooray to that. And same for Optifine, Optifabric, and even the Faithful Texture Pack. Well, we already have installed the updated version of those mods, so, well, which is actually a good thing. And the second thing that I want to talk about is our upload schedule. So basically, well, as promised before, that I'm going to resume our iCraft series by the end of August, which is that should be this upcoming weekend, right? So basically, this Saturday we are going to have our iCraft series. Of course, we are going to resume our projects in the iCraft server, and that's going to be this Saturday. Well, it's not gonna be any every Friday anymore. So our schedule for the iCraft series is going to be every Saturday, 6 p.m. EST time, and for the Philippine time, it's going to be at 6 a.m. of Sunday. And for our hardcore series, well, we are just going to have this once a week, and same schedule of this episode, which is going to be every Tuesday, 6 p.m. EST time. And for the Philippine time, it's going to be every Wednesday, 6 a.m., right? But anyhow, so, well, I think those are the stuff that I needed to tell you guys, at least for now. Of course, well, I'm just gonna finish up, replacing this roof, and of course, well, I'll be back. Well, I just realized on how important are those outline on our roofs though. Well, I basically just used some of these nether bricks just to add some more color, and as well as some details on our roof. And also, well, probably you can already see that we have added a window on the front part, which is, well, a triangular window on the attic, which I think, well, at least it adds more detail. And now, well, so far, I should say that I'm already satisfied with this design though. But anyhow, so, well, basically, well, I should say that this is the only decent structure that we have made so far here in our Japanese town. Well, I should say that this is not yet a Japanese town because we only got one house right over here, right? But anyhow, so for this episode, of course, we are going to, well, probably start doing some planning first. On what we are actually going to do for our Japanese town, which is probably will cover up this entire area. I'm not sure though, but we're just gonna deal about that later. So for now, well, since I really got spoiled in the iCraft server that we have our planning department, so probably it's the best if we're also going to do that here in this world, right? And since, well, if we're going to call this place, what we're basically gonna do on the first part of this episode is, of course, well, we are going to build another structure just to add, from our single structure that we have here. So we are going to add another structure on this section right over here, which is, of course, how we are going to clear this out. And, well, basically, the purpose of this structure or this building is going to be for our planning department. And well, since I don't think that a planning department do exist during the Japanese feudal time, so probably it's the best if we're going to, like, well, I already have thought of that we are going to translate most of our projects or most of our, our structures into Japanese terms. Of course, we have the help of Google Translate. and hopefully it will give me the right translation. So basically, we are going to call this like the builder's office or the builder office, something like that, which translate into Nippon or Nihon or Nihongo. Well, I have to read this. Sorry if I'm going to mispronounce this, but this is my best on how I will going to read this. It's called, well, Chikushi Jimusho. Well, probably I'm just gonna say it that one time though. But anyhow, so basically that's what we are going to do for this episode. First, we are going to build the structure, but before that, of course, we still need to do some terraforming and stuff. Probably we are also going to clear out this tree farm and of course including these acacia trees that we got here. Of course, we still need to clear that out. And also, of course, we also need, probably it's the best if we're going to, have a proper foundation for our building. Of course, we are going to do a bit of terraforming, should I say. So yeah, of course, this will cover up to this back section right over here. So probably we are also going to dig this. And also, well, after that, after we already have our, well, Chikushu, Jimusho, yeah, I got that. I should say. But anyhow, so yeah, we are going to start doing our planning, so at least, well, it will already serve the purpose of this building that we are going to have here. And well, I also think that we already got most of the materials that we are going to need for that building that we are going to do later. So basically, we got this nether quartz because basically we are also going to follow this same design as what we have here. So basically, most of the materials that we already got here are the same materials that we are going to need for our building on the other side. So basically, yeah, we got these quartz, some of these cobblestones. Probably I'm also gonna need more of that. Yeah, we still got one more shulker. I mean, actually, I think these are 2 shulkers. Yeah. Well, we already got plenty of those cobblestones, and as well as, of course, these basalts. I think that's already enough. And well, not the sea lanterns, probably we're not gonna use that, but of course we are going to need the dark prismarines for the roof, which is similar to our roof here, and also a couple of these black stones. And in terms of like the wood, of course, we are also going to need some of these spruce logs and probably a bit more of this acacia logs, since we are also clearing out those acacia trees in that land. So basically, we're just gonna have that later, and as well as some of these dark oak logs. Well, I think we're not gonna need that much, so I think that's already enough. But anyhow, so well, without further ado, well, first thing that we have to do is of course to clear this out, and of course, well, let's get started. And now we already have prep up the layout and as well as the foundation for our builder's office. So basically, well, of course, the midsection right over here is going to be the main hall or the actual builder's office, where we are going to have the world map in this section right over here. Well, not actually the world map, but the, the town map, or should I say, yeah, it's basically probably going to be a town, right? So we are going to have the map here where we can actually overlook all of the things that we are planning to do for our Japanese town that we are going to build here. And also, well, on this section right over here is going to be a flight deck, but well, I'm just gonna explain later why we are going to have a flight deck on this section right over here. And also on the back side here, probably we're also going to have another flight deck or an access on the backside right over here. And also I already have made this retainers wall. So basically, well, in the Japanese feudal era, most of the castles and most of the buildings are actually having this some sort of like fortification wall, which also serve as foundation of their buildings or their castles. So which is actually very common in the architectural style during that feudal age of in Japan, right? But anyhow, so well, I think that's all about the layout. And anyway, so of course, this side is going to be a porch, and last thing, this area is probably gonna be a garden in the future. But of course, I will not gonna work on this one for the meantime. Probably on the next couple of episodes. And also, of course, we already got most of the materials. Well, yeah, I think so, and hopefully these are enough though, because yeah. So hopefully, well, we can work on this continuously. Of course, we are also going to do this in the form of a time lapse. But anyway, so well, let's do it. Well, I have to say it out loud. I'm very proud of this build though. Because, well, I should say that we have improved in terms of like this Japanese style of of building. And I think, well, this is even more complicated than our starter house. Of course, that's our very first build, and this is, well, basically the second one, which is, I think we have a great improvement, although it kind of looks like identical, but it's still different, right? Basically, of course, we're also trying to be consistent in terms of like the design that we are actually having in our builds. But probably, of course, we are also going to vary some designs in the future in different buildings that we are going to build in our Japanese village, which is basically the main project for this season of hardcore series, right? And of course, well, these farms are only temporary. Probably we are going to move, and especially, well, we already got a sugarcane farm, so we don't need that. And probably, of course, some of the farms we are just going to relocate that and probably automate some of it, right? But anyhow, and of course, well, the interiors is still not done, and basically this is how it looks like so far here in the inside. And probably I'm just gonna do this off cam, in terms of like doing the interiors, so because I'm not totally confident in interior designing, right? But anyhow, so of course the most important thing in this building is of course this map. So basically, this is a map room. So this is where we are going to try to envision our plans and of course do some planning. And also, I guess now is the perfect time for me to reveal what's our master plan for our Japanese town, which is basically, well, I think 2 episodes ago, I mentioned 3 options, which is first, we are going to have a massive cavern in our underground base. And second is that we are going to build as is on the surface, and we're just gonna let that, the underground base as like basement of our castle. And the last option that I've thought of is actually making a valley with something like, instead of like building the mountains up, we are going to dig down, and it's gonna be a lot of terraforming, and we are going to shape this place into a valley, something like that, right? But yeah, so, well, I should say that we are going to go for the third option, which is, I think, the most difficult one, right? Because yeah, we're just gonna talk about that later. And for now, well, what we needed to do is, of course, to fill this map, and as well, I prepped up some these banners for us to make these like markers in our map, so at least later I can easily explain. Well, at least you guys will have some overview on what we're actually planning to do moving forward. And especially, probably this is going to be the only project that we are going to work on for this hardcore series. And especially that it's not guaranteed that we're going to finish this, because, well, we are on a hardcore mode, and if we die, well, we have to finish this season, right? But anyhow, so well, we are going to, of course, update these maps and as well as place the markers and of course fill in the other maps, and well, let's start doing that. Now we got our map, but basically this is still partially completed because I'm still planning to expand this on the sides later on. Well, of course, I'm gonna do that off cam. But for now, at least we can already see what's our plan for this. We should probably start to call it city though, because well, this is kind of massive, right? And especially that probably we're gonna do a lot of building, especially on this section right over here, which is part of the town center. On the north part of that is actually the commercial district, and on the south side is the industrial district, where we are going to have most of our farms. And on the, well, west side of it is actually the entrance. Here we are going to have the gatehouse. And going to this direction, we got the farmlands and as well as the lake district. Of course, the farmlands is where we are going to have our, well, crops for wheat, beetroot, and all of those stuff. And of course, this is also where we are going to place our farmer villagers. So this is going to be their official residence. And on the lake district, so of course, we are also going to do a lot of terraforming here. And especially that we wanted to make a massive lake on, probably on this section, which is also connected to 3 of the rivers that we have here. So we got one river right over here, which we will actually redirect this on this south side right over here, going past by here in front of our gatehouse. So at least we can have some sort of like a nice bridge. So I think that bridge will add, you know, I mean, some beauty in our city. And well, probably we're gonna make it somehow elaborate, so at least we can, you know, make it nice, right? And of course that's gonna be connected to the lake, and as well as this river right over here will gonna be redirected to this lake right over here, which is also gonna be the place for our fishermen. But I know that the fishermen is not really that useful, but of course for for the sake of this project, we're gonna have those fishermen, right? So on the east side, well, we got here the garrison. So probably this is where we are going to have our blacksmith. So, but of course, the garrison are mostly for the soldiers, right? And of course, well, I'm not sure what it is actually called in the Japanese feudal era, but of course, we know about the samurais. But the samurai, well, of course, we got the Tenshu, which is the samurai castle. So most likely this is where the samurai is gonna live. So of course, the Tenshu or the samurai castle is going to be probably the most elaborate and the most or the grandest structure that we are going to build for this project. And on the back side of the castle is going to be the temple district. Of course, we are also going to try to beautify this place with some of those amazing looking temples. And of course, this is also going to be the residences for the priest. Of course, we are going to place our priest villagers in our temple district. And on the south side of the castle is going to be the forestry, which is going to be our manual tree farm. And on the southernmost part is going to be the quarry or masonry. In here, this is where we are also going to have our masons. And probably we are also going to have here our automatic cobblestone generator and as well as automatic basalt generator. So this is where we are going to have that. And yeah. And so far, I think in terms of like the layout, this is pretty massive. And I know this will take us very, very long and months of working on this project. And hopefully, well, we can survive this game and also finish this project, right? And I think that's it. So if you guys are still wondering why we have this flight deck, because, well, of course, we are going to dig this massive area here down. And of course, well, this particular deck will have a very nice view, an overlooking view of the city that we are going to build here. And by the way, I've also started to think that probably we are going to call this the Sunken City, but I don't know yet what's the Japanese translation of Sunken City. If you guys know the Japanese translation of Sunken City, please let me know in the comments down below. That will help me a lot because I think the Google Translate is not giving me the right translation, right? But anyhow, so well, I guess that's it for this episode. So well, thank you for watching, guys, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Please leave a comment, please leave a like, and make sure to subscribe, of course, to me, to mikeyperion. And well, I'll see you guys again next time.